and I'm super excited and grateful that we can have this conversation today with Amy and to get some details and scoops, like what was the vision behind organizing, because this is a huge event. It is a movement because it's over 70 speakers. I mean, this is a humongous event. And Amy, welcome, and shed some light. What is your summit is all about and why people want to join?
Well, thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for being a guest speaker on the event. Yeah, so long story short, let's see, a year and a half ago, I used to walk with a cane. So over a span of 5 years, my health, I went from like having nice legs and abs on this workout journey and doing handstand push-ups and CrossFit and all of the things to almost immediately I felt like I was on fire. I felt like I was being electrocuted. My muscles started getting weaker. And over the span of 5 years, I ended up shaking like this. My muscles would twitch. I'd get kind of stuck and no one could figure it out. No one. Doctors had no idea what was wrong with me. So my husband, he built cell phone towers, and he used to always joke with me that since I'm so full of electricity, he's going to tie me to a grounding rod and throw it out the window. But it was just kind of a joke, I never really listened to him. And then we moved here to Texas, and I was grounding one day, and my mood felt better. And so anything to do while you think you're dying to increase your happiness, you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, whenever I did that, I had this really intense trauma release, and my symptoms for the most part went away. And so over the series of events, I discovered that I was really sensitive to technology, to cell phones, to the radiation that comes off of our devices. But then I just went down the rabbit hole of what was making me more sensitive than other people. And I really discovered that it was that trauma piece. It was stored emotions. Tech wasn't the bad guy. The bad guy happened decades ago. And it was these stored traumas that were within me that were literally causing me to walk with a cane. And so I was just like, this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
This is how they say stress kills. You always hear it and you think, oh, it raises your blood pressure. And it's like, no, it's literally because it lives within you and vibrates at a different frequency. And that's a rabbit hole to go down. But this event is this compilation of everything that I've learned. So it's everything from the fact that like we are energetic beings and our bodies are fully capable to heal themselves. We learn a lot about frequency. We learn a lot of different healing techniques, healing modalities, different testings that you can do. Like there's all kinds of energy tests out there that are so much more accurate than the ones in mainstream. There's literally a test that all you have to do is speak for 10 seconds and it analyzes everything going on in your body. And I'm just like, this is so incredible. So we have that part of it. You can heal your body, and then it moves into just being in alignment with yourself, because that's what I really discovered, is that I was out of alignment with myself, and that was causing my illness. So we learn how to become one in alignment in our life's missions. We're a spiritual being. We are a soul. We don't have a soul. We're not a human with a soul. We are the soul living in a human body. And so when we're out of alignment with ourselves, things go wrong. But when we're in alignment, things go right. So that's what we're going to be learning. But then we're also going to be learning like the business side of it, because it's all these things that we were never taught in school. We were never taught about finances. We were never taught how to save. When everybody's grandparents went through the Great Depression, a war, some sort of famine, something to where it is literally instilled in our being this scarcity mindset. And a lot of people's pains, believe it or not, a lot of your pain actually isn't even your pain. It's like ancestral pain. And we learn this in the mainstream with the words like genetic and hereditary. But what that means is it's pain that was passed on from your grandma, from your mom, from whoever, and passed on to you. So we learn all about that. And then back to the business side, we learn different generational wealth building strategies. A lot of people's stress has to do with finances. That stress builds in your system. So we're going to break the barriers down to that, to where like you no longer have to be stressed out because of money. And then we're going to learn how to turn all of that into a very thriving, very fulfilling business, because part of the healing is helping others. We go through all of these things, some of it not pleasant, but whatever. We go through all of it so that we can heal ourselves, so that we can become one with ourselves, but then also so that we can extend that helping hand and help someone else in the process. And so we're going to learn how to host events like the one that I just produced. Um, how to write a book. Everybody's got a book in them, you know, everybody's got more than one book in them. We're going to learn how to host workshops, how to do all of these things that really the future of business is online, you know. So I always joke that like if it weren't for tech, I would have never been sick. But if it weren't
Mm-hmm.
for tech, I would have no idea what was wrong and what's going on. And like, really, we live in a digital era. We just do. Like, you can't deny it. And the future of everything is going online. Even if you have a brick and mortar store, you can still benefit from having a virtual store by having a book, by hosting a workshop for an hour out of your day. You know, like it's just all of these things kind of compiled together. So it's really designed to change your life. Like you will understand that you can heal from literally whatever is ailing you, whatever, it doesn't matter, whatever stress is. If you hate your job, you know, if you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
find out what's going on, you can heal from that. And then all the way to the end, you're going to learn how you can build a thriving business that's in the futuristic business. So I'm really excited about it. And yeah, right now I have, I think, 75 speakers, and each one of them is just, sometimes when you listen to the interviews, it's like, oh my gosh, this sounds really crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Right?
like it doesn't even sound real. But when you go down the frequency rabbit hole, like I did from being sensitive to technology, I just started going down the rabbit hole of frequency, of energy, of all of these things. And you understand that, wait a second, I remember learning in school that that's what our cells are made of. We're literally protons and neutrons and electrons, which means we're literally electricity. So, like we've all heard our body's 70% water, but we're literally 100% electricity. And so when you know that and when you kind of accept it, because it's a weird thing to accept in the beginning, you know,
Mm-hmm.
um, then everything makes sense, you know. So we're going to be learning a lot of things that I joke and say that they're going to think that we're crazy listening to this, but it's true. It's all true, and it's incredible. It's a different way of thinking, and it's a different
Mm-hmm.
way of living. So your thought processes are going to change. Cognitive dissonance will be rampant. You're not going to want to believe the words that you're hearing, but your body knows, you know, you're here for a reason. And we always question that. We always say, you know, why am I here? Especially when we're going through like the thing, you know, we're like, why am I going through this? Why me? Well, this is why. It's so that
Mm-hmm.
you can heal from it and then help heal the world. That's how the world is going to raise its vibration. That's how there will be peace in the world. Like you can't, you hear the phrase, you can't change the world with one person. I mean, if just that one person changes, then no. But the thing is, when one person changes, so do the people around them, especially when that one person is offering to help those around them. That's when the world changes, because then those people uh, extended, and then those people extended, and it's just a ripple effect.
I
So,
love it. I
yeah,
love what you share, especially this is like a greatest time for the awakening. And that's
yeah,
the theme of your summit because right now everybody's frantic what's going on around the world. The fear
yeah,
is just in every household. And it's like, like what's going on the world arena, what's going on with the economy. But with this event, you tap more into the power that we all have inside of us. We cannot control things outside of us, but we can definitely control how we respond to everything outside of us. And once you understand how it's all connected, you realize that rather than worry and stay in the fear, there is something that you can create during these times. Because let's face it, like during pandemic, although there was a lot of suffering, but there was a lot of like new sprouts that just started. Like I started my business during the pandemic, leaving the corporate world, right? So the idea is in every bad situation there is a seed of good. And I love how you, Amy, connected out like we all have our experiences for the reason. There is a lesson for us to learn through the experiences that we are going, but it's also going to make us stronger. It's also going to make us look into the sources we never even thought we need
yeah,
to actually tap to.
yeah,
And yeah, everything is energy. We are
Mhm.
living in the world made out of pure energy. And the more we connect, and I know for a lot of people, it's still, like they're living with their heads rather than their hearts.
Yeah.
And it takes some time to connect. And there are more invisible forces than visible. And I always give a perfect example. I say, well, we do not see the internet, but we know it's out there. We do
Yeah.
not see the Wi-Fi, we know it's out there. We do not see electricity, but we know
Yeah.
once we turn on the light, it comes, right? So the idea is not everything is tangible, not everything is meant for us to experience with the five senses, but we all have that ability to tap into something beyond if we choose so.
Yeah, definitely. And I like how you said mentioned the Wi-Fi because we have our own personal Wi-Fi. Our
Mm-hmm.
our biofield, you might have heard
Mm-hmm.
it called an aura back in the day, but it's literally in physics, they call it a biofield, your human biofield. And it's literally your electricity, your energy that's kind of shooting off in all directions, and every part of your body has a different biofield. Your heart has a biofield, your brain has a biofield, and depending on what's going on, it changes. It can be anywhere to 25 feet all around you and really greater depending on what's going on. And that's your energy. Excuse me. That's how, like, if you've ever walked into a room and you can just tell someone's in a bad mood without
Mm-hmm.
even talking to them, you're reading their energy. You can sense their energy. And then the opposite, if you walk into a room and someone's just so happy they can't even contain themselves, it kind of puts you in a good mood too. But that's their energy. That's their
Mm-hmm.
biofield. That's what you're feeling. And it's more than a physical layer. It's kind of this innate layer that we all have, that we all have our intuitions, whether we trust them, whether we listen to them. A lot of us stuff our intuitions down, and that's
Mm-hmm.
done from whenever we were kids. And you're in class and you raise your hand and your teacher fusses at you because they don't like your question or whatever
Mm-hmm.
the case. It kind of silences you and makes you question yourself. And so it's all these little moments that, like, we don't even really realize happened a lot of the times, that kind of like slow us down. Like, if you want to kind of think of us being a computer, right? Because we are like an electronic device. So it's all of these different things that are these little glitches going on within our computer system.
Mm-hmm.
And so once you're really in that alignment of, hey, like, this is what I'm supposed to do. Like me, I mean, if, and I tell people this too, think about this. Anytime you have a question about anything, what is it that we do? We research a book, or we go online. We usually go online first and then we find some books. But we're doing that so that we can get information so that we can learn. But none of that information for us to learn would be there if that person hadn't experienced it and then put themselves out there to write the book. So, like, all of the things that I've experienced, even if they were horrible, it doesn't matter. If good, bad, ugly, pretty, whatever, they were all for a reason. They were all for
Mm-hmm.
me to get out of it, to come out of it, which y'all have come
Mm-hmm.
out of your things too. We all have shit. Everybody's got shit.
Mm-hmm.
But and then we help others, like I think of me a few years ago, if I were to run into someone who was like me at the grocery store, I wouldn't just be like, well, good luck. I wish you well. No, I'd be like, oh my gosh, woman, let me tell you all of the things that I learned. Let's figure this, like, this is this and
Right.
that is that. And you get excited. You get excited that you went through the things so that you can help someone. It's like whenever you have a nice pair of pants and somebody compliments you, you're like, thanks, girl. This is where I got them. This is how much they cost.
Mm-hmm. Totally,
Like you just,
totally, right?
yeah, yeah,
And I love, Amy, what you shared, just, like quickly before you continue on. I love what you shared because it gives so much faith to people, because people just, like operating with the 3D reality. Okay, this is my circumstances, this is my condition, and they do not see beyond that anything is possible. And we are here to share with the world that, hey, everything is possible. Just, connect with someone who can take you there.
yeah, yeah. I'm glad that you mentioned conditions because, like, conditions are great because they at least give a name to something, like, especially if you have something where doctors can't figure it out. That moment that you figure it out, you're just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, weight off my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
But I hate them because they put you in a box. And so now you're like, well, I have this condition, so I'll never heal from it because I have this condition. Whereas our bodies are meant to heal. That's why we don't walk around with paper cuts that we got from sixth grade. Like we're designed to heal. Our cells literally regenerate. This isn't woo woo. This is very scientific. Depending on the body part, it'll completely regenerate into a new thing. So that means every year you're a completely different person, cellularly in your makeup you are, but your emotions are stuck, and your feelings, though, that's what gets stuck. Emotions are energy in motion. That's the motion of your feeling. And if you don't express it, or if you've gone through something that you haven't processed, and it can be anything from stress from emails, it doesn't have to be this major event. It can be literally anything. Think about that moment when you were driving in traffic and you had to slam on your brakes or you would have gotten into a wreck. That moment stayed with you most of the day. You were probably frazzled, and that's a really good example of that. But it's all of these things that we can heal. And that's what I really want for everyone to understand. You can heal. You're an energetic being. It sounds very woo woo, but it's actually very scientific. You are energy and you can heal. And so, gosh, yeah, it's just the word condition. It's like a little fire on me. I'm like, ah.
Yes, I love what you're sharing. So tell a little bit more about the format of the event. And
Yeah.
okay,
Oop, you froze on me. Can you?
it starts on Monday, right?
Yes. Yeah. So it starts on Monday. It's a 5-day event. Each day is broken into a different theme. So day one is awareness. Everything starts in awareness. This is where it gets crazy. This is where you're going to learn about things that you didn't think that were possible, like communicating with dolphins and whales for healing. That's a rabbit hole that everyone can go down. Like the fact that we are energetic beings and we can heal our frequencies. So day one is all about awareness. Day two is all about health. So that's where we're going to learn the different energetic testing modalities, like that voice frequency scan that I told you about, and different other energy testings where, like, you don't even have to be present. It's just your energy that's being read, and it's so accurate. Wednesday is all about purpose. That's a day for the soul. Like I said, you are not a human being with a soul. You are your soul. And a lot of us forget that. A lot of us think, oh, yeah, I have a soul. But it's like, no, 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 you are that soul. And so you have to get into alignment with yourself. And so we're going to learn all about that. Um, Day four is all about generational wealth building strategies. So that's things like infinite banking, which is a insurance policy that the banks themselves use. And we're going to be breaking the myths, or breaking the energy around all of that kind of stagnation. Like, we think that we should be poor because our grandparents were poor. And I know some of y'all might think I'm crazy saying this, but it's true. We have a scarcity mindset. And then day five is all about how to turn your mess into your message, how to make that into a business, how to start a business, how to host summits, how to write a book, how to have workshops, all these things. We're going to also, you're on day one manifesting, because that's like, a lot of people don't, you hear of it, but you don't really realize that no, it's actually very possible to manifest. We manifest every single day, whether you realize
Totally.
it or not, because what we think is what we create, and a lot of people who are in bad situations are like, well, I would have never created this. And it's like, well, in a way you did, I hate
Totally.
to say that, but yeah.
Absolutely. And do people have to be somewhere, or how is do they receive something through the
Yeah.
email?
Yeah, it's pre-recorded, so it's completely free for everyone to attend. Each day's interviews will be released for 24 hours. So I encourage everybody to get the VIP ticket. It's under $30. I think during the event it'll go up to like 37. So it's really not that much. It's a few Starbucks coffees. And you're going to have, with the VIP, you'll have access to all of the speakers, over 75 speakers, all of their interviews, lifetime access. Plus, they'll have little special gifts that they give just for the VIPs. And then what we're going to do too next week is we're going to have live VIP hours. So that's where all of the speakers who are available and all of the VIPs who are available, you come, you mix and mingle, you got a question, your question gets answered. Like, you can literally talk to the speaker that you want to talk to. And then on Saturday, we're going to have that same session, but where everybody's involved. So that way they don't, and nobody really misses out. But it's going to be a great event. And all you have to do is sign up. All you have to do yeah, sign up, and then the rest is done. You'll get access to a main dashboard page. And what I'm telling everybody to do, because there are so many speakers, I really want for everyone to start being able to listen to their body, to trust their body. And so, what I want y'all to do is, instead of like reading the titles and reading the names and reading the bios and getting a stress headache because there's so many people to choose from, how do you pick just, one? I want everyone to kind of blur their eyes. And this is a technique that I've actually learned, because you're getting more into your right brain work instead of just the logical left brain. So just blur your eyes and kind of lightly scroll the screen. If you got to scroll it up and down a few minutes, but instead of paying attention to what's on the screen, pay attention to your body and how your body feels. And as soon as you feel a shift, whether it's a chill down your spine, a feeling in your heart, something back here, your hands getting sweaty, whatever the case may be, if you feel a shift in your body, that's where I want you to stop. Because your body, its frequency, its energy, it's just like the computer, and it's reading the computer on ways that you don't understand, but your body knows that's the interview you need to listen to. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's the one that you'll listen to. And then you can go and choose whichever one you want, or you can continue using that process of just scrolling and listen to your body. Because that's a big one. That's really a big part of the Great Awakening, is that we awaken into ourselves, right? Like I was saying, we're not a human with a soul. We are that soul. When you think about it, like scientifically, we all know that we run off electricity, especially by now, you all know we're electricity. But where does that electricity come from? Right? We don't just
Mm-hmm.
plug into a wall. That electricity
Yes.
literally comes from our soul. Our soul is light, our soul is
Mm-hmm.
energy, our soul is frequency. That's the electricity that drives
Mm-hmm.
us. So
Mm-hmm.
that is what's going to be driving the ship when you're choosing which interview to listen to. And your interview will be different than someone else's. Someone sitting next to you scrolling their screen will stop on a different interview because that's what they need.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. I love it. So, everybody who is listening, who is tuning in to watching the replay, just remember, this is, if you are watching this episode, this is the message that you meant to listen to this and you meant to register. Because remember, every choice that we are making in our life leads us to our path. And do not deny, just see what it is for you. Just click register and experience, and then you could decide, where do you want to go with that. Thank you so much, Amy. I
Thank
truly
you.
appreciate, and I'm super excited for the event that you're putting together, for bringing more light and love into this world, and to raise the frequency of the entire universe.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you. Bye, y'all.
Bye.